Hi guys, this is Miss McDonald again. We are working in the same packet that I sent from Tuesday the 27th. Sent it in the Google Classroom and then also sent the video of the first story already on Remind. This will be the second story. Remember, we know that there are 4 different kind of stories every single time. This one is passage 2. See if I can get a little bit of glare off there. It looks a little bit, see this makes it better or worse? Worse. Okay, so now we appreciate how good it looks there, right? Because that looks like the best I'm going to be able to do right now. All right, so let's talk about the social science. Hopefully you are keeping track of each of the passages and how well you do on each one so that you can work to your strengths. If you do best on the first and the last, those are the ones you want to do. You want to do first up, whichever one you're best at, go do it. If it's science, go do the 4th one first. It's always going to have the passages in order. So social science is the second one. A lot of times people do best on this because it's usually about a person or a people group. This one says it is social science. Now remember, same thing like we'd want to do in the other times. Let me turn that a bit. We want to write what time we started. Let's say we started this one at 10:05. If I know I want to take 26 minutes, let's just make it easy on myself. That's 25 minutes. So I want to be finished at 10:30. At least by 10:30, I want to be done with this one. So we're going to start reading our intro so that we get any information we can get ahead of time. Social science. This passage is adapted from the Great Waters. I, in particular, do not recognize that. An Atlantic Passage by Deborah Kramer. Okay. Oh, and it's also written by Deborah Kramer, and I notice it's 2001. So it's 20-something years old, 22 years old, 21, 22. All right. But it is written by the same person. This is not as clear as I want it to be. Hang on. Let's see. I want you to be able to see it well. Yeah, that's at least clearer. Okay, let's do that. All right, so I now know this. It does say the Sargasso Sea, the place, is a part of the northern Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so in my mind, I'm thinking up on the coast of Maine, over that way. I know that's the Atlantic side, maybe over towards England somewhere. That's the Sargasso Sea. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but remember, it really doesn't matter. It's what you call it on this day. So what do I know so far? It's about a boat going on a trip, and it's named after this person who is our author, right? The passage is by oh no, not necessarily. Passage by this person and copyright by this person. All right, I know I'm going to read my first paragraph because it's very short. So let's read it and see if we get lay of the land. As the Kramer idles through, oops, I did know this. The Kramer, which is her last name, that's the name of the boat. As the Kramer idles through the Sargasso Sea, waiting for the wind to rise, the sea is flat and empty. Nothing demarcates or divides. Anytime you don't know a word, don't stress. Even if I didn't know that word, it says or divides. Okay, it divides the smooth expanse of the water, dissolving into the horizon. This vast, unroughened surface, this breadth of uniform sea deceives. Okay, what's it saying? The sea looks really, really calm and quiet, but it's deceiving. We don't know why it's deceiving, but only for a few lonely oceanic oceans. The unturbulent, unperturbed surface offers no hint of the grand and sweeping energies. Okay, grand and sweeping energies hidden below. Everybody knows that. Underneath the ocean, there's a whole nother world there. So that's what it's talking about. All right, I do glance down and I see the next paragraph is a little long, and I don't know what we're, needing to know so far. That's enough for me. It's about a boat, probably a big ship, going through the northern Atlantic Ocean, and it's quiet and calm, but that's just a misnomer. Below the ocean, there's a lot going on. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to go on to my questions. Now, remember, I'm always going to do the one that says number 1. In this case, it's 11, but it's got a 1 in the last digit. That's where we know we want to start. This is the easy ones to miss, right? 11 and 12 are at the bottom. We could easily miss them if we didn't do that. The author's attitude toward the main subject of the passage can best be described. Okay, what are we looking for? The author's attitude toward the main subject. Well, we don't really know the main subject. We think it's this ship on the ocean, but we're not real sure about that. But I did already hear awe, maybe some disbelief, or might be some amusement or some boredom. Probably off the bat. Remember, if it says, I love these that say and. If it says and, it has to be both of them. So right off the bat, I know she's not bored. She might be amused. There might be some disbelief of, oh my gosh, she can't believe how much is under there. There could be some awe. I'm going to go ahead and take that out and not worry about it. I'm going to be listening for the other ones to kind of hone in, but I'm not reading everything too much in my brain at the time. It's not always, excuse me, pardon me, helpful. The passage makes it clear that middle ground, I don't know what that is, Telegraph Plateau and Dolphin Rise were names that people gave to what was actually, okay, we have no clue. And I am not going to spend my time right now going to look for those. Makes it clear that they were actually something else. Well, they sound like islands to me, but I don't know that. And because I have not seen these words, I'm just now watching for those words and I'm moving on. Go to number 12. Excuse me, 13. I just did 12. All right, in the first paragraph, yay, I've already read the first paragraph. The author describes the stillness of the Sargasso Sea as the Kramer passes through it, primarily to emphasize the stillness. Okay, let's stop for a second. What's it really asking us? They mention the stillness of this sea as it goes through, primarily to emphasize that the stillness won't last long. Could be. Or it makes it easy for passengers on the Kramer. Are we talking about passengers? No, I know that one is not it. All right. It is a dramatic contrast. If I just read the beginning, it could be. This one's a possibility. This one's a possibility. Makes it seem as if the Kramer's wake is dividing into the unbroken. This is describing what happens after. And this is saying, why did they put the stillness in? So especially now that I can look at the other two choices, I think it's A or C. It doesn't necessarily make D completely wrong, but these are more correct. All right, anytime I've got two, I'm going to go back and reread them. Make sure that we're thinking about, they included the stillness to emphasize or to tell you, right? Underline that word, that it won't last long, for the sea will become rough when the wind rises. Do we know anything about the wind rising? No, so that one makes it a little iffy for me. So I hope I like C better. Is a dramatic contrast to the power that exists on the floor of the sea floor below. Let's read that last line. It says, the grand and sweeping energies below. He says, this author, she says something about below. All right, here's the below word here, and I've got a question mark here. So what am I going to pick? C every single time, put my big old check and go on to the other one. We've only got one so far, but that's okay. We're working down our list. The passage states that compared to Arizona's Grand Canyon, underline names, dates, places, right? The canyon that lies within the mountains in the Atlantic Basin is considerably, okay, how does it compare? I don't know, but I've underlined that word. I know to go back and look for Arizona's Grand Canyon. Moving on. The main purpose of the information in lines 71 to 76, I've definitely not read that, is to, okay, let's stick just with our words, our verbs, to describe, to characterize, to provide, or to list, okay? 4 similar ideas, but very different ideas when you break them apart. We don't care what the rest says. Is it describing? Is it characterizing? Is it providing or listing? So let's go read 71 to 76. And that is going to come up right here, right here. Okay, so it's the end of this paragraph. Let's read it, keeping those things we're looking for in mind. Here in this bleak and forbidding place, where the water is almost freezing, subterranean fires have lifted mounds of fresh lava onto the seafloor. Scientists visiting the Rift Valley for the first time named the volcanic hills in this otherworldly setting after distance, a distant, lifeless planets. All right, they're comparing it to distant, lifeless planets. What are they comparing? This bleak, unforbidding place. All right, so let's go look at our question again. It says the main purpose of adding this information is to describe, to characterize, provide, or to list. Right off the bat, you didn't have a list there, did you? Take your list out. All right, so let's just work our way backwards. To provide statistics. Did we hear any statistics? Statistics means numbers. You have to have numbers. And remember, it's saying in these lines only, I saw no numbers. There is no way this can be an answer choice. Now let's move on up. To characterize the Rift Valley as an alien. Did it say as an alien? No, it said as a planet. So guess what? I'm done already. I know it has to be A. I am going to go make sure it's A, but I know it cannot be B. Describe in detail scientists' expectations there for their first trip of the Rift Valley. Describe the detailed scientists' expectations. Do they expect this to come up and happen? Yeah, they do. They know what has already been seen, and someone's already told them the deep and lifeless. Okay, maybe I'm not as happy with that now that I've looked over it. To characterize the rift as an alien, seemingly barren place. Let's read the last sentence again. Scientists visiting the rift for the first time, remember this is what they told us, named the volcanic hills in this otherworldly setting after a distant, lifeless planet. I think I'm going to change my mind on this now that I have not looked at the correct answer. This one I was not as happy with. This one, a valley as an alien, seemingly barren place. Not an alien, but an alien place. I probably went a little too fast on that. When I went through to see if this one was going to be it, I'm not as happy. Those two are my choices. And when I compare the two, I'm going with B. I'm going to circle it and then I'm going to check us. It is B. All right, so good. That was a good example of when you get down to the last one, make sure you read it. Make sure that it still matches. You could have overlooked. I stopped reading here and it wasn't talking about an alien. It was talking about an alien place, somewhere that's different, somewhere that we're not used to. In that instance, I like it better. All right, so we're moving on to number 16. One of the main purposes of the last paragraph is to state that okay, what are we talking about? Main purpose of the last paragraph. Remember, when I tell you of the main purpose of an entire passage, you're always going to be able to read the first and the last and come up with the main purpose. The main purpose is never a detail. They're going to trick you with that. You're going to hear some of this in the last paragraph, but if it's a detail, it cannot be an answer. It has to be an overreaching idea. We've talked about that. So let's go read the last paragraph. Fairly short. Mark it so you know that you've read it. Yet, what had seemed so foreign to scientists in the integral part of the Earth's very being, for that of the ridge of our own planet gives birth. The floor of the Rift Valley is torn. From the gashes has sprung the seafloor underlying all of the Atlantic. Here, the youngest, the newest pieces are made. Earth is still cooling from her tumultuous birth 4.5 billion years ago. Heat leaking from the molten core and from radioactive decay deep inside the planet, rising toward the Earth's surface, powering the volcanoes that deliver the ridge to the sea. Okay, I know you well enough now. You're going to say, blah, 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 blah. What did that really tell me? All right, what did it tell you about this? The Earth is still moving, still changing, still reacting to what happened 4.5 billion years ago. That seems important to me. It seems so foreign to scientists. Like scientists can't, they get it maybe because they see the proof, but they don't really get it fully. It's not exactly the same. If you look at the bottom, the heating and the cooling, the molten, the radioactive decay that deliver the ridge of the sea. The Sargasso Sea is a part of that is this big ridge. Okay, so now let's go see. We read it. You don't have to completely understand it. Just go pick up your main details. It's the main purpose of the last paragraph. That's what we just read. The gashes in the Rift Valley continue to increase in width. Did we hear anything about its width? That word tells me no. The seafloor of the Atlantic has cooled. No, in fact, we heard the opposite. It continues to cool. So that can't be. The entire Atlantic seafloor has issued from the gashes of the rift, has issued. That word, you see, I sort of paused with it. When you read and you pause, I'm not sure really what they mean there, but let's read the rest. The entire Atlantic seafloor has done something from the gashes of the rift. Yeah, it's continuing to change. It's continuing to react. Even if I'm not really sure why they use that word there, that's what I'm going to do. Does the rest of it make sense? Yes, nothing is wrong with it that I can tell so far. All right, so I'll at least say it's a possibility. Volcanoes on Earth's dry land have created the newest and youngest places on the Atlantic seafloor. Is there anything about the Earth's dry land that we have heard about? No, it's happening from within. So I know this one can't be. So the one that I wasn't so sure of, and I promise you, I'm working this as we go. I know that one can't be. The only one that really makes any kind of sense is H. Now let's check, and it is H. So you see how sometimes you don't fully like what you're picking, but if there's nothing wrong, leave it there. It might be one of those trick ones. All right, I'm going to skip 17. You can do that. I'm going to let you come back and finish the others. This is a kind that I want us to work on. All right, it says, as is used in line 19. I don't remember how far we read. I doubt we've read this. The phrase paid out most nearly means. Now remember, when I give you vocabulary ones, I want you to cover the words. It will just save yourself so much time. You might not realize it. Your brain goes directly to one, it sticks there, and then you have to talk yourself out of it. All right, if I ask somebody, what does the word paid out mean? Well, you worked all week and you got paid out on Friday. You got a paycheck. That's what I'm thinking. But it says, as it is used in line 19, which is a hint to tell you it's not used in a way that you're probably used to. So let's go to line 19. There it is, paid out. It jumped right out at me. So let's see, where does the sentence begin? Right here. And I'm going to start reading. The first maps of the Atlantic seafloor noted, albeit crudely, this rise. Early efforts to plumb the Atlantic's depth proved outrageously inaccurate. One naval officer paid out 8 miles, 13 kilometers of hemp rope. Okay, now I'm knowing what they're talking about. He paid out the rope from the drifting ship and concluded that the sea had no bottom. Okay, so I'm not real good at distances, but I do know 8 miles of rope is an enormous amount of rope. I didn't know boats would have that much rope on there. So if they paid it out, he's not giving a paycheck in the water. You see, he says in the water, right? From the drifting ship. He's putting the rope out. He's putting out an enormous amount of rope. I don't know that I think about a ship having more than a mile of rope. That would be an extremely long. They had 8 miles of rope. So now let's go see something that's just crazy a lot. He dispensed the rope. He ascertained the rope. He suggested the rope. He compensated the rope. Well, right off the bat, I know it's not he suggested, right? He ascertained. That means you got it. I ascertained that you're a great student because you're watching my video and you're working hard on this and you're trying to pass. You're trying to gain something, earn something, get something. That's not what we're doing. Compensated. That's the one that your mind probably would have gone to. If it said paid out, you got compensated, you got a paycheck. That's the trick ones. That's why I don't want you to read those first. The only one that's left is dispensed. which makes sense. Let's see, pharmacies used to be called dispensaries because they dispensed medicine. They gave out. It might be a word used in a way we don't normally use now, but I'm so sure that one's right. And it is. It is F. And move on. Be really careful. Try to cover those words. You go determine what it really means before you come back and look, and you'll be best off every time. Now, there are a couple of others that are a little tricky on this one. This last one, if I remember that one right, because I do remember doing this at some point. You'll be able to find this, but you may have to really search. I've done 4 of them for you. You have 7. Give me a second. I'm going to stop sharing. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. You've heard me say that before. I look like a wreck, but I'm almost finished cleaning my mother's house out. So don't fuss at me. I want you to please finish this one. And then I want to know, how many did you get right? I've already helped you with 4. So if you come back and tell me you got 5 out of 10, then I know you only got 1 more right. Include the ones that we already did. If you come back and tell me you got 6, 7, 8 right out of 10, that's going to be really good. That's where I want you to be. Remember, you only need 5 out of all 4 stories to feel like you're right there. If you had 6 on a couple of them, you would be fine. We need probably 22 questions right out of 40. You need just a little over 50%. 50%, and you probably get it. More than 50%, and I'm almost certain that you're going to get it. If you have questions, let me know. The answer key has already been sent. It's the same one that I sent this morning in Remind, and I'm going to upload this video. You'll be able to see it. Enjoy. This is for Thursday's class. I will not be here on Thursday. That's the storm day, right? And so I'm not going to count on having internet or being able to do that. And actually, that's the day I have a company coming in to clean out the house, and I will not have time to do this. So enjoy. Please work hard. And I will see you in person next Thursday for sure. Next Tuesday is still up in the air. If you have questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.